Jim, for those of you that don't know, is heading up our the Cardano for Climate initiative. He's one of our core team members, and he's going into something called Littlefish Foundation. Yoram, will you be able to share the slides?
Yeah, I will
Littlefish
try to show my
Foundation,
screen.
and it's called a DAO. For those of you that are not familiar with blockchain lingo, it's a decentralized autonomous organization where we can come away from and figure out how we can do better than our centralized governments and the organizations that tend to fail us. Jim, you're up. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Melanie. Hey, everyone. I'm Jim, one of the founders of Littlefish Foundation. Littlefish Foundation is a community initiative from Cardano for Climate and a DAO inspired by Kiva, Kickstarter, and Patreon. We build open source technologies to fund SDG activities. Our aim is to make the funding process transparent, community-driven, and trust-based. This image represents the allegory of the cave. Most of you know it already. Socrates imagines a cave where prisoners are chained, looking at the blank wall. Behind the prisoners, a fire reflects shadows onto the walls, creating an imaginary world of shadows. The prisoners believe it is the real world and don't believe those who see the outside, those the cave. So, how is this relevant to the challenges we face in 21st century? One in 5 persons in developed regions living less than $1 a day. The number of children living in conflict zones has increased. Wildlife population sizes have dropped by 2/3 since 70s. Nearly 40% of the plants are at risk of extinction. Global emissions of carbon dioxide have increased almost 50% since the 90s. Our institutions seem to address these issues, but they are misleading us. The problem remains unsolved. We are the prisoners in the cave. Thank you, Yara. Our governments are influenced by the special interest groups like fossil fuel industry and the military-industrial complex. Intergovernmental organizations are weak, ineffective, and dominated by superpowers. Meanwhile, most NGOs don't have the scale or the power to drive the real change against the power of these special interests. These organizations all suffer from the same issues. They lack transparency, inclusiveness, and accountability. We don't know how they spend their money. We can't participate freely, and we can't verify their actions. Littlefish ecosystem includes activists, entrepreneurs, donators, stakers, artists, and state pools. The vision is to create a sustainable funding ecosystem that brings these actors together. We design an ecosystem that rewards all participants while removing the man in the middle. Activists, entrepreneurs are the drivers of the change in the ecosystem. They plant trees, organize protests, start eco-friendly businesses, and solve problems within their communities. They provide the time and the effort, but need funding. Other parties provide funding. Supporters donate directly to the projects of their preference. Stakers share a percentage of their earnings by staking through partner SPOs. Artists provide their NFT art to generate additional funding. We have a big vision to implement, but how do we start? And we learn by doing. So right from the start, we wanted to fund activism projects to learn. Thus, we initiated the first donation cycle where we got 6 proposals in 10 days and collected 1,000 ADA thanks to our community and partners. We held voting open to community members and completed the fund transfer this week. Our winner, fittingly, is a project that aims to turn a patch of deforested land into a forest once again. Over the next month, the proposer of the project will present evidence of their activities, a proof of activity, as we call it. We hope to collect such proofs on-chain and on an impact ledger to provide accountability. It is the very early days of Littlefish, but there are already extensive support from the community. We need people who will help turn this vision into a reality. We need copywriters and community builders. We need artists to inspire us for a better future. We need all sorts of curious individuals to make it happen. In short, we need to free some prisoners. Become a little fish today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Very beautiful.